Hi-oh, beaver! Away!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to KritzKast, as we're going to be casting yet again some ETF2L top Premiership action, Season 17 of that, if you're actually paying attention to how many seasons there were. My name is Jake. Today I'm joined in the co-pilot seat by Gamma, and on the camera is none other than Foppish stepping in and making sure everything runs smoothly. Gamma, who are going to be watching today, and what are the stakes?
We're going to be watching TORPEDO, and we're going to be watching Kitty S. Bakenbardami, a team whose name I pronounce differently every time I say it. For the most part, on the stakes today, it's trying to get into those coveted playoff spots because it's still available to both teams, and a win or loss here would definitely shift the momentum in the direction of one or the other.
As I'm watching, I was checking the scores for either team, actually. It seems that Kiti didn't really have a good sailing this season. Out of 3 last games, they've lost 2. They won 1 against Super Dixman Canunen 6-0, and that was a spectacular win. Win that I didn't expect that would actually occur so splendidly. It was 2 weeks ago, and actually did a very good job taking down the SDCK team from back when. But unfortunately, they have fallen to Joyotech Fela 6-0 there, and then the first week was against Envision, and they've also succumbed 4-2. When you take a look at the other team, their opponents for today, the TORPEDO team, is a bit of a mix, a ramshackled mix of players from different teams. Actually, it was I do believe it's Ugandan Pizza Police. There's some Luke Rossa tossed in there, so they sort of have their first season here, Gamma. But so far, so good. They actually won 1 game. The last one against Tourette's French club, 6-0, but they've lost against Fela yet again. It's 1-5, and then Super Dixman Canunen 0-6. So both teams actually 1 win each, 2 losses each. Like you said, they're both still running contenders for the first spot or the spot at playoffs. They still have 2 games to go, and one of them is today.
I would say when you look at the games that they've played, you know, they've played Fela, who would probably, most people would say, are probably up there as being the best team in the division. They played Envision, who are playing really, really well. Super Dickman's, of course, a very well-known team. So now it's how well they did against, like, that win that Kitty got against Super Dickman's was completely out of the blue, I think, for most people.
Yeah.
I would assert. So I think Kitty would want to build on that because that's a win that most people wouldn't have seen coming. And as you said yourself, TORPEDO are this relatively new mix of players. So this is a win in the making for Kitty if they can grab it. And it will certainly make the rest of their season look better because they do have a game against Tourette's French club next week, I believe. So they'll believe they can win that one, I think.
Yeah, Tourette's French club not really doing that well this season. They're struggling quite a bit. I'm not sure as to why that is. I mean, they had some changes within their team. I mean, Kayla's still leading the team. Spirit's on the team as well. Sunrise. They really do have good players there. They have Deox, Raph, Nightmare. They're all splendid players, but for some reason, they cannot find themselves a single win this season here. Botting the charts with 1 point, and TORPEDO with 7, Kitty's Bakenbardami with 8, as well as Super Dickman's Canunen on the same spot. And then Envision and Fela, 13 and 17 points respectively. So I do not think this is actually physically possible for Kitty or TORPEDO to actually match up with the points with Fela. I mean, basically, one of those teams will lose today. So there's definitely that. But they are still fighting for that, 3rd and 4th spot. And even if I think one of those teams today lose, they still have that chance to actually compete still for those playoffs. They're still not far off as, the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th place. I mean, 7th or 6th place is going to be very difficult to actually catch up with the rest. So it's basically, right now, the competition between Super Dickman's, Kitty's Bakenbardami, and TORPEDO.
That's the thing with a 6-team premiership like this. What you'll probably have one team out in front of the rest. You'll probably have another that's going to fall behind the rest. But it's those 4 teams in the middle that are going to really fight out for every single point they can possibly get. And this is one of those matches that we're going to see here tonight. One that has plenty of stakes, or plenty at stake, rather. And with only 2 weeks left in the season, points are very much going to be at a premium here tonight.
especially that we have 2 maps today. First one's going to be Gollywash, and I do believe it's first to 5, which never actually occurs in Highlander. It usually hits the 30-minute mark, and if need be, it's a golden cap. I do believe if either team actually does not equalize their score, it's just going to be a 1 point each for this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that's how it works. And then we'll move on to Asheville, and that's going to be best of 3. So whichever teams actually gets to more points first, then that team will win. And speaking of Fela Esports, I mean, they are sort of a I wouldn't say revelation this season because they've played last season amazingly well. Unfortunately, in the finals, they've lost to Strong Opinions, and as a result, they got themselves the 2nd place. But I do believe, as of recent, it's one of the most consistent teams in terms of roster, in terms of game style, and only lost to Strong Opinions because Strong Opinions had that experience and that cohesion together just a little longer than Fela did.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely true. And I think if you look at the tables in general, you'll see a lot of the teams who've had, the least roster changes, the ones who've been around the longest, the ones who've played together the longest, they're going to end up getting the most points because Highlander is ultimately a team-based game mode. Yes, you can win the odd map by out-DMing opponents, but you're not going to do well in a full season at least, if you can't handle the teamwork elements like CP Steel and whatnot. So again, that's another thing that's going to come into play in Gollywash in particular, I think, because while you can definitely out-DM another team in that, if it gets down to a messy sort of back and forth, a team who can get a little bit of cohesion in their gameplay is going to win on that map. And it'll be interesting to see if the newer team in Torpedo can handle that level of cohesion.
And it's going to be quite difficult as Kitty's bakenbardami have been playing together for quite a while now, and they've been playing both in ETF2L and UGC and all those various small tournaments that have been happening all around. And they do have that experience advantage in terms of like playing together, especially that they also kind of from the same language group, they all speak Russian. So that sort of helps them as opposed to teams that are like mixed European because you kind of have to default to the English language. So I do believe there's a little bit of that advantage that the Russian team has, as well as simply, I mean, they've played amazingly well against Super Dickman's Canoon, and they did lose, unfortunately, to Joyotech Fela, but that was pretty much to be expected. And well, they do have amazing players there. I mean, last time we saw Boshi do some amazing stuff on the soldier class. We have Lightclaw, who is an amazing scout. A DQZ. We have Pahan, who is a very well experienced medic. I do believe that team has what it takes to take down their opponents tonight. However, when you look on the other side, like we mentioned before, it's a kind of a mixed team, but they do have some great names who've really garnered themselves some attention from us as the cast as well as the public. And I'm talking here about Newbie, Aleski, Rambazor, Anir, Adye. They're all players who've had their moments, and they're by no means just some noobs who decide to play Premiership.
No, I mean, that almost never happens nowadays. When you have only 6 teams, you're not going to get very many fresh faces all that often. These are all highly experienced players. They've all been around the competitive scene for a very long time. And they're all very, very good at their respective classes. And I can't wait to see what they're going to do on them. I have a particular soft spot for Fansky because I think a game I casted he was in last season. And there were some great great moments.
We're shortly getting ready to go with this one. Once again, it's going to be CP Gollywash starting it off. Best 2-5. The best team who reaches 5 points will get this one, or the team has most points by the end of the time, which is 30 seconds. But we see already Joseph being quite fast in the middle, putting some nice spam onto the choke point on the right side. It's going to be difficult for the red team to go in. Boshi actually jumping in for the scout, but Banana is taken over by the blue here, and looks like the Turbo will be able to sort of go in that spot, but there's a lot of cap time already on the red point here for Kitty.
This aggressive mid-fight attempt was working out for them because, of course, no one could really stop the cap, but they're not getting any positioning really here at all. All the damage is in the favour of Torpedo, and now they're kind of stuck in lobby. They're going to have to give up mid, and if the respawns don't come out quickly, they're actually going to have to give up second as well here, unless when Fansky respawns you can pull off something amazing. That's the problem when you lose mid that decisively. You really can struggle to hold second as a result.
Well, you still have Bashi there on the catwalks up there on the balcony, putting some nice spam onto the enemy team, but TORPEDO will just be able to simply walk on the point. There's not many red bodies on it to stop it from being capped, but Py-bun does have his Uber, and he's moving up. Vinsky's up there on the balcony as well, scoping in. Uber comes out immediately into the lobby on Joseph, as well as just protecting the team, but the red one is a little bit better here. Kiti will be able to come out on top just in time as the cap is almost finished.
That was a pretty messy attempt at taking an Uber exchange there. It's not really a place you want to take it in that little shutter area. You can just get bounced around too easily, reflected, just all sorts of things you don't really want to take. I didn't see if anyone got forced or anything, but this is the net result of this is Kiti hold, and not only that, they're probably going to get mid for free here.
Yeah, and they really need to watch their backs as the blue has almost capped their second point. But they're stacking middle as much as they can to get it done as fast as they can. Newbie has found a nice little spot hiding there in the garage, waiting for any passerbys, but it looks like Kiti will decide to go through the choke point here, through the Z connector. Putting some spam. Neither medic really has that 100% yet. And Oleski has a nice spot on the rock.
Newbie's come down from his perch. I love seeing people take that because it's a very well-known spot, but nobody ever really uses it. It seems to catch people out more often than not. But it looks like here they're just going to try and look and see if either team can work a pick, or maybe just take the Uber exchange, but it's probably better to see what either sniper or spy can get done, maybe on the flank in particular.
Oleski's still not rock. Here TS is scouting out for his team, just checking out where the positioning is. You may be able to get Ollie there, or maybe Oleski's decloaky gets the sniper. That opens up this choke. Hates with his life, but that's okay, as they're ready to go in with that Uber charge. They may be able yet to get something out of this, and they're charging as everybody, and then Crime goes in with the Uber charge. Counter comes out on T-Bourbon, trying to push people away. Py-bun's getting jungled up in there, down, but he's out of this situation, and looks like it's a stalemate.
Py-bun and Crime got some serious air miles during that Uber. That was insane. Crime saw it was going south and just tried to jump towards the big door, but he kind of had to surf a reflect, and he got murdered at the end of it. Now they're 2 down, 2 important classes, Demo and Sniper. They can't really stop this. There is TS still behind them. T-Borden knows he's there. Can't really find him. Piggy gets him. So no spy shenanigans this time, and we're going to see a reset, but with a different team in charge of the mid-fight.
Bashi is still behind, still looking for something here, low on health, but he's finally going to get finished off there by Newbie, his counterpart from the team of TORPEDO. And now we have a pretty much mirror situation, and this time it's TORPEDO that is sieging down this connector of Kiti. Prime really far forward, trying to put out some nice spam onto the enemy team, but ultimately it's all about just waiting for the right opportunity for a pick. And that might be going to the way of the sniper Ollie here. He's actually very aggressive, looking for Crime, maybe able to get him as he's a bit out there. No, he won't. He just missed that one. Now Vinsky is scoped in, looking to get that headshot there. Gets a shot onto Joseph, but that's not a head. And it's a little bit of a stalemate going on here. Yeah, not much happening as either team just waiting for that opportunity.
They were oh, actually, Boshi's gone into the drop down. I don't think they've seen this. Here comes the soldier on into any air. He gets the force. Fantastic work using the distraction of the spy pickup to try and get into the force. And now they can just come in here. In come Kiti, solo Ubering basically onto Crime, but the reflex from Board on keeping them in the choke and actually forcing them out of it altogether. Ajay behind them, decloaking. They've heard him. And I'm going to see a reset again here, maybe.
That was so weird. They had everything going for them. They cried with Uber charge. That was all they needed, and they just wasted completely by the pyro from the TORPEDO team. And then TORPEDO's just kind of hanging back for right now. They're not as aggressive anymore, kind of spread as well. They don't want to risk this one without the Uber charge. And Finsky is scoped in, but he gets sniped instead by a Ollie. Opens up a little bit of room for the blue team to push in here, Gamma.
Yeah, getting that sniper pick at choke basically gives your Demo more of a license to peek a little bit more aggressively. You see Joseph doing it now, T-Borden as well. He's getting a lot of support here. Without the sniper watching the sideline, they can afford to peek this a little bit more. They have a slight advantage, but they're not going to be able to use it.
And they got a few picks here, and they all going in without the Uber charge. And Newbie is just charging into Py-bun. He has to pop to save himself. Now the Bloober is much better. You have to just abandon everybody. But Crime is reunited with his own medic and now putting out some pain towards the blue as they have to get away from this. And Nier is almost dead. I mean, half health, but he's out there and safe. Nice surf there by Bosch. He's still looking for that medic. and the red is just following with the push, but Lightclaw fortunately gets picked up by Wild Piggy, the counterpart from the blue team here. There's just a bit of a scattered around team play going on here.
Looks like Kitty are trying to force push this. Big door TS missed the stab onto Enier. That is really unfortunate because it was his pick that basically opened up that Uber exchange. Aleski caught in that elbow area, couldn't do anything, and it looks like they're actually going to send Joseph in for a bomb here. He's going to force them all the way out of choke. They've lost a lot of players, including Crime. Boshy's only respawned now, and they're going to get this mid back again. It's like a pendulum, this game.
Yeah, none of the teams actually managed to cap yet, and Aleski's a little bit overextended there, but they managed to find everybody. And now, right now, just both medics on 100% supercharge, just a few less bodies on the field for the red, and whoa, what a pop there by Paha, but then he drops Boshy and DQZ, and now they're chasing him away. He still has that supercharge to get away, and he reunites the scout. Lightclaw just gets him out of the situation in time to save his own medic. But the Torpedo team will be able to recapture the second point for themselves and, well, siege last.
They're going to need to be careful here because there is a sniper in River. There he goes, gets bored on. And Enier's got to be a bit careful standing there. He's using the post to try and save himself a little bit from that sight line. It was a really nice fight taken by them, but now they're going to reset a little bit here in Big Door. It seems they do know that they have that slight disad. Might be the safest place for them to be.
Boshy is still very aggressive up there at the balcony, just making sure that nobody decides to go through there, and if they go through there, they have to go through him first. And it seems like the Torpedo team is simply just waiting in the garage right now, building up their overcharge. I mean, they don't want to risk it just yet. They know Boshy's up there and lurking, and Adi is just feeding them information. Boshy going all the way behind with TS. They may be able to find some kind of a kill there. Maybe at least one or two here. Hopefully looking for Enier as he's about to hit 100%. 100% on the side of Pahan as well, and well, both teams are ready for an exchange.
Is the respawning Rambasaur actually saw Boshy there. He was just about to get behind them in Big Door, but it was called out just in time. But he is behind them in River now, and it's a reflect there, combined with Aleski, is going to keep him in the death zone, as it were. The Uber is going to come in now. They're actually going under with a lot of players.
Oh yeah, but here Crime is putting out some nice damage on there. T-Bird and the newbie are trying to get through, but they're completely noticed there, and the sentry is still alive somehow. Gets sapped, but that's not gonna stop the red team from actually just blocking the blues from getting in. And Nier is still alive, however. He's being chased by Boshy. He may be able to get it. Oh, Rocket killed him so close, but not close enough, and he gets cleaned up by Leski, who gets cleaned himself.
The cleaners, as it were.
The cleaners
they got
in the river.
To it. The cleaners in the river, using the water to wash them all down. They don't actually want to push out of here because they have lost a lot of players, and it is very dangerous to push out of this last. When you've got 9 potential other players who could be sneaking behind you, you don't really want to push out of this last, especially when you can just sit in Big Door like Torpedo are doing right now. They can just slip in the under as they're doing now, taking back lobby. So it's a much safer play to just sit back, wait, try and take a decisive Uber fight, and then push out.
Yeah, here everybody's actually laying down some pain in the lobby. They're getting really aggressive with this one. They had a slight advantage there over Torpedo, but Katie ultimately decided to stay and spawn. That last point really caps fast. Finske is scoped in, waiting for that head to pop in, but looks like Torpedo are opting to go for River once again. Crime actually spotted them and putting some spam onto them, but he has to get out of this.
Crime did actually have a trap in River. It looks like they found it. I think that's what he was looking out for. Perhaps being that aggressive, but he'd want to get out of there. He's kind of important for the whole defensive prospects of his team. There's a bit of a reset here. TS and Wild Piggy have had an interesting little duel, I've noticed all game. Every time TS goes for something, it seems like Piggy's there to spot him.
It's been unfortunate, but you know, Scout really they can cover a lot of ground, and if you just keep running around, you are bound to bump into that invisible spy. But Adi is actually having a little bit of trouble from Lightclaw, but he gets out with his life now. Boshy is just getting really aggressive, looking for that kill, and he gets killed himself by Wild Piggy there, the Scout. And basically, it's still yet again another stalemate going. Both medics at 100%. Neither really wants to pop first, as they are just hoping for a kill there. Everybody has a good position there. He maybe will catch someone off guard, but he gets caught off guard himself. Aleski is going to be beneath the point. Is he able to actually find something?
This is where you want your heavy if you're going to be pushing in. the soldier bomb. Oh, gets denied. But they have 2 on the point now. A pyro and a heavy. It's notoriously hard to get them out. Boshi manages to jump in through the eye of the needle to stop them, but they had to use an Uber to do that. And now NER has a full advantage, albeit not much of a team to use it with. He's all the way out of big door.
Yes, it's all on TS right now. The spy. He's bakenbardami to find that kill onto NER. He's just waiting around. He's not in a rush. They have a lot of time left, and neither team really capped. But the red team is now a little bit aggressive. They're also desperate, so they need to get something. NER though.
That drop, TS, you said it yourself, they needed him to pull off something big, and while Joseph was fighting the people above him, he should have been worried about the person behind him, and he drops that Uber charge, and now that's going to be easily an 80% advantage for Bahan once NER responds. They're going to be able to roll this through into mid, probably into second as well, maybe even without even having to use. This is disastrous.
Yes, he
look
needed
at
to pull
Nubby's
something.
hiding position. Look at Nubby's position.
No, no way. He's gonna get it. He gets 1 rocket, 2 rockets, and he dies. So up to the mini-century. Rappers are finishing this one up, but it's all the work of Newbie. Amazingly done, and that equalizes the things, but the red team is kind of desperate right now. They're throwing bodies at the main team. Torpedo has to stop that onslaught. Adi actually killing off me, but they finish up the crime, gets a pipe to the face, and then the NER finishes off TS with that crossbow. And even though they capped the middle and getting themselves a forward spawn, that point will soon belong to Torpedo.
What a hiding spot. I love that sort of thing going out from Nubby. Fantastic play. The mini sentry stealing his kill slightly. But, you know, it's the end result that matters. Now the advantage is completely swapped the other way. TS is actually in. He's in choke. They don't see him, he only gets the pyro. He's gonna die for this. But he's gonna slow them down if nothing else.
But NER gets cut off by Boshi there! He just kind of went from behind, sacrificed himself for this one, but the medic is down for the blue team, as well as red, as Pahan died there as well. So neither team really has a medic. It's just gonna be a kill-off fest. You're looking for some more damage. Oh, he's now in a lot of trouble. He's gonna get finished off. Now Wild Piggy is getting chased down the choke. He's gonna surely die here with the help of DQZ. And now DQZ has trouble himself. He finds a kill on Durambazar. Seems that Kitty's bakenbardami will be able to reclaim this middle, but the blue team here, Torpedo, are not willing to let this one go without a fight.
We have, I think, our 4th non-Uber exchange in a row here coming up. Adji gonna get a nice pick on Vinsky in the background. Oh, nice reflex coming out, keeping them out of this point. So much damage going on in choke, they're gonna have to run away here.
And Pahan actually, dying there to a reflect. Unfortunate for the medic, and looks like Kiti will have to go back all the way to last. They cannot hold this, and with the NER actually nearing 100% Uber charge advantage over the red medic, it's going to be very difficult to hold last. I mean, yeah, this is what they're doing. They're going on last here.
9-second respawns it was when they were pushing in here. It's now 2 seconds. They're taking a little bit of time here. They're going to want to do something with this. NER nearly has the Uber. He's going to have lost his pyro for it. He uses it now, but it's only really on a heavy. They do have people on the point, though, that weren't noticed. And Torpedo pick up the first point of this game. It only took them about 15 minutes.
It doesn't matter, as in the end you win. And, well, it took 15 minutes. Just shows that both teams are very close in skill, and they just kind of unwillingly, well, not really willing, that's the word, to let this one go. They were really kind of playing careful, looking for opportunities, and just solid Highlander play. And when either medic dies, they just go in for the enemy team, no stops, but they're going in right now, full force forward with Boshi trying to get something done there. Really aggressive with Prime as well, but they're taking some damage in retaliation. It seems like Kitty will be able to finish this one off with Newbie in the behind, just firing rockets on the enemy team. And even though they capped the middle, yet again, Torpedo are just going to reclaim it with no resistance.
The problem with taking aggressive mids like this is if you do not lock the enemy team out of the midpoint altogether with your aggressiveness, you open yourself up for things like this. Adju with the nice butter knife of all things onto Pahan to kill him. Without the heals, you're always going to lose in that little narrow choke. Demo can just spam right into your face, and now look where they are. NER with full Uber advantage essentially, looking to get into lobby, and now this might be a second round in quick succession for Torpedo.
Yeah, Kitty really need to be careful. The sentry is only going up right now by Meath. It's going to be difficult for them to hold this. Very early pop, not risking anything, but what are they doing? They're not pushing in. They just completely wasted this one. I believe they were forced by Boshi there and behind, as I see his dead corpse lying on the ground. I think is all a result of that soldier just being yet again very annoying and stopping this one dead in its tracks, with Pahan now with the advantage. TORPEDO's just backing off, and probably they will let go of the second point if need be.
It looks like they're actually going to push out from this one, but they're going to want to be careful if they're going to do that. They're taking lobby at the very least. But when you're forced like that before you even really get into lobby, you don't really want to push it all the way in, because your Uber is going to run off at the worst time possible. And now they're just at this position where they're actually not all that far behind. It's only 30% disat, but they're going to use right into their faces. The reflex doing so much work, but Birdon and Piggy are the first to go down. Notably, Enier is still alive, 78% in that big door. Joseph trying to get all the spam he can do, but he's so weak. Enier now completely alone with only a mini sentry for company. Gonna have to run up to Rambasur. Please save me with your big arms, my man.
Enier's about to hit that 100%. It's very important for him to have this, but they're just backing away. They don't have the players to push with, but maybe Newbie will be able to get something. This team just respawned. They still got 4 respawns as the middle has not been capped. Uber comes out very early just to go and clean up the enemy team. DQZ going down, jumping in for Meave. He's gonna fall down as well. Finske is also there to basically eat dirt as everybody finds like some reconciliation prize, but they're backing off here. Kiti onto the second point.
They're all so weak, but they can't get out because the TORPEDO just came in through big door. They're all weak as well. And here is 60 HP, 1 HP, cleaned up at the very end. But they are going to not get this cap, it seems like. This is so messy, it's hard to follow what's going on. Eventually, I suppose, they've cleaned up enough players. Piggy's
really
going to sit on that cap.
They really spread around. Some of the team went to garage, some of the team went for the second point. They just wanted to make sure that there's no lingering players, as Bashi has been a major thorn in their side the entire game. And they're kind of watching out for it now. There's a little bit of a DM going between Wild Piggy and Crime, but Crime finds a lucky pill to his face, and, well, that wins this one. Wild Piggy is just backing off here. Aleski and his team sitting in that garage, making sure that the Uber is up and running, but Pahan doesn't have his either. I think they're really comfortable sitting in there, but you have to remember they are 1 point down. They cannot afford themselves to just be passive anymore.
And again, that's a trap you can fall into in Gully Wash, because if you overextend, you're going to be punished super duper hard. And they want to leave this last point, they really do, but it just doesn't seem like they can manufacture a way in. They're going to have to hope one of these Uber exchanges goes well for them, I think, and pretty soon at that.
Yeah, right now just still a bit of a stalemate going on. Still flank classes looking for something, some kind of a kill, some kind of an opening. Newbie is the one who jumps in, but he's gonna go down. Lightclaw's also getting body shot by Ollie. So just 1-for-1 exchange. Both medics now 100% waiting for the other to make the first move. It's like a game of chess here, Gamma. And just first team to go first. Well, they get the advantage on the other. I don't know how chess works really. I mean, you start first, you still may lose here. Nice headshot there by Finske. And it looks like the Blues are just losing that little bit more players than they actually hoped for. They're locked down in River now. They have that high ground, but the red team is pushing in full force.
They're going to want to be really careful here that they just don't get flanked down River, and looks like they're going to back off. Oh, who's capping that? Boshi got behind them somehow, starting a cap behind them, and DQZ as well. That's times 2. They're going to have to send people back, but there's an Uber exchange going in on last. They're not going to be able to cap this point anywhere near quickly enough. Aleski going to get picked up by Lightclaw. No, oof. Oh, he will eventually. That was a nice arrow from Menier, almost saved his life, but there's more people behind them. Boshi is still back capping, forcing them all backwards. Some fantastic play from the Kitty soldier.
Yeah, I did tell you before the game, Boshi is still looking, look at the near. No, he failed this one. I was so close. He had hoped to get a near, but he gets ultimately stopped by Wild Piggy there, saving his own medic from an ultimate death. But Boshi has been playing splendidly so far. I did say that you have to watch out for that soldier. He's been pulling up some amazing stuff, and right now, not only he has managed to stop the enemy team from capping last, but now he's actually managed to push them out of last as well. But the blue team is just going in with full force. No Ubers there. Just replays and kills going all around. Only 4 players up for the red team. They pop just in time to save themselves. They get chasing off a near, but he's gonna get away with full health. Now popping back a little bit too early on the trigger.
There's level 3 sentry here as well. The Meyer may not have been called off. They're going to get it, or called out rather. They're going to get it now. I didn't agree with that early Uber. I don't think they even had to use Uber there. But you know what? They get the point, they get the kill on Pahan, and crucially, there's 9 minutes left, and they still have Kitty trapped in their last.
Yeah, here once again, here stalemate onto last of Kitty. Adye is behind, gets caught off by the Pyro. He's just gonna go down. No sweat there for the Pyro of Kitty's bakenbardami. Newbie once again jumping in, looking for Crime. Goes for inertia, but misses. Crime's still alive there. Once again, in here, 65%, only 25 on Pahan, 50% disadvantage on the side of the Russian players.
Getting that Uber charge up in time when you're at a defending last is not easy. It really isn't. But when they're going to lose Aleski, that's bad timing for Aleski to die. They're losing a lot of players actually with this back cap work of sorts coming out from Lightclaw. They're losing everyone. Ollie going down as well. Any bombed by Boshi, who was capping the point behind them. Does Joseph even know he's there? Joseph's going to go down too. But the back cap from Adye, that is what you always run the risk of when you push out of last. Especially when the sentry isn't watching the point enough.
Oh my god, Spy backcaps. It's just such a sight to behold on Kaliosh. It's happened so many times, it's happened yet again, granting Torpedo their second point in the set. With time running out for Kitty, a little under 8 minutes for them to actually equalize and win this one. It's not gonna look good. Joseph almost dying there, but Bashi actually falling down first, saving himself literally no health there. Gets an arrow, he's all good now. Once again, Kitty's just overextending, going for that point, but there goes behind Adye, taking down Finsky, now taking down everybody as well, and just one by one crumbles that offense mounted by Kitty, and the point will just like that be reclaimed by the Torpedo.
This is the second time in a row now that a mid-fight of theirs has failed because Adye comes in behind them at the exact same time and kills really important players at a really bad time. I really liked what Boshi did there, that incredibly fast rollout to put pressure on Joseph, but honestly they really should have just played a passive mid this time because last time it really didn't work out well for them. And now they're stuck on their last, just under 7 minutes left to go. They're 2-0 down. This is disastrous for Kitty.
Yeah, they need to think of something new, something fresh to start actually being on the offensive side. With 50%, Ubercharge Pahan 100 on the year, and once again it's not going to look too good. Ollie finds a kill there onto Lightclaw, and they're going to the Ubercharge. They're not waiting for anything as they know they have the advantage. Here Boshi trying to stop them from capping, and there is still that heavy weapons guy on the point. He's going to get burned down. T-Bird, no, he goes down, but he finally falls as the entire red team is dead. Third point goes to a Torpedo, and they managed to just move this immovable rock away from their path onto victory.
I think at this point you can pretty much say that Torpedo have this in the bag. It's just a question of how many more rounds they can tag onto this, or maybe they'll lose them, who knows. Boshi's going for this fast rollout again. Joseph's going to know he's coming this time, and this time he gets the health pack. This is really bad for Kitty.
Yeah, losing that soldier so early is going to be difficult to actually make a hold, and once again they're getting really aggressive there on the point. No, actually they're hanging back. They're decided to go the other way, not through that choke point where they've been dying over and over again.
With that flank up through jump down, trying to get in on Pahan, gets him with the help of Joseph. That's an incredible play from Rambasaur.
Engineer for the Torpedo actually gets a kill, or gets himself noticed there on the board with a nice kill, or actually nice beginning. But oh, Finsky actually taking down Ollie, and even though the red team doesn't have their medic on board, doesn't have really anybody holding the stroke, they're kind of reluctant to go in. Everybody's just hiding in that bush, shooting down Newbie. Now Newbie is locked away. He cannot go back into the choke looking for Finsky, but Finsky actually gets Newbie instead with a no-scope. That's gonna hurt his pride, if anything else. And still, Kitty somehow holding onto the second point.
Probably won't be for long now. Enier has the Uber, the full charge advantage. It's just a question of how do they want to push, where do they want to push, and when. And do they even want to? Yes, they do. Joseph's going to come in and get sent into the skybox for his troubles. But the first kill they're going to get is Boshi. They need to get some high ground if they want, if they can do anything here. The Crime is a good kill to get, if nothing else. But they're really going to want to force them out of river real fast.
Yeah, your Meef actually just putting some spam with that 200 ammo pistol. He's not gonna do much damage, but he's just gonna at least be annoying. Second point still not being capped. T-Burden is not really doing anything. You're actually going down in that engagement, which means there would be an equalizer if it wasn't for Pahan just being blasted away and then just killed off by Aleski. So that equalizes things yet again. Ollie now scoping and gets Meef. just like that with a nice quick scope. And still, it's up in the air to whom this second point belongs. Boshi jumps in, but gets blasted away by T-Burden. And yet again, it's just going to be a stalemate as neither medic is still reunited with their team.
Yeah, both teams are going to want to reset a little bit here. Finsky actually bumps Ajay. Knows he's there. Ajay runs away for a bit. Bit of a reset, some spam exchange. The usual gully wash tropes, as it were. But if anything, I don't think Torpedo would want to really do much here. There is 3 minutes 40 seconds left. Don't take any major risks. Get your Uber charge up. Try and get some picks and see what you can do with them.
Yeah, all I can hear behind me right now is just park the bus, park the bus. But that would not be fun, would it? I mean, Torpedo is just winning with 3 points. They can allow themselves to get a little bit more aggressive in this game. They don't really care if you win with 1 point or 5 points. It doesn't matter if you still get full 3 for this one. And Boshi jumps in yet again, looking for something there, but he finds trouble instead. He gets sniped by all the body shots. Now it is the time for the blue team here to push in. Torpedo yet again on the offensive. Bahan is finally equalizing the Uber charges, but he's known to be dying quite a lot this game. And well, TS going for a stab onto the heavy, but he gets burned instead to toast.
Ooh, Uber exchange here. Just NER gets it just in time. They're actually going to pick up a lot of players, and NER is going to get out with 70 HP. He's probably going to have to use, yes he will. Is he going to follow in with Joseph here? Yes he is. Joseph has an Highlander. Okay, I didn't even notice that. Looking to see what he can get with that big sword.
It's going to be difficult for that Devilman to get anything with the big sword. Maybe a spy who they just bumped into. TS being a little unfortunate, but he gets away. Somehow, he may be looking for it. Oh, he finds a kill onto Oli, but he completely missed in near, and that's what they were looking for. Pahan has that slight advantage, but you would have preferred if the other medic was actually fully dead. And there's just ramshackle defense going on, just people stacking the point, making sure nobody's sneaking any backcaps anymore. 2 minutes left on the clock for both teams to actually get any points left, and well, it's safe to assume that Torpedo has this one in the bag.
Yeah, if you're Kitty right now, you just don't want to lose another round, really, I think. Maybe you still have just enough time to push out a last, maybe you get a last cap on their side, but what you want to do more than anything else is just prevent it going to 4-0, because that's just sad. And no one wants to be sad. It's nice to be happy. And T-Borden is very happy as he walks forward, melts people, and gets Pahan.
Yeah, it looks very promising, but no, TS actually equalizing with a nice kill onto Anir. I mean, this is just all for the logs right now. They still have the second point in control, but blue team is gonna get 4 respawns. They're just gonna keep tossing players at the point. At this point, it doesn't really matter that much. They just kind of looking for more kills to add to their logs that we can later talk about, but no, they actually finish off this point. I think Kitty has finally decided, you know what, it's not that much, like, it's not worth. There's only 1 minute to go, and we're 4 points down. There's not a physical, there's not a way in the world that we'll win this, even if the other team just simply left the server. But they just say, you know what, it doesn't matter anymore, let's just clear our heads. It's very important to just be calm and prepare for the next round, as they will be looking to equalize this one and at least have a draw.
I'd love to see, I wonder if that would set a nice precedent if some teams actually did that, you know. BM leaving with 3 minutes left on the clock with your 4-0 up. I'm surprised no one's done that yet, to be honest. Boshi in on any air, gets another med kill for his logs, looks nice.
Boshi's been doing amazingly well for his team, even if the rest of them were not really helping him that much. Boshi has been like kind of helping him as much as he could. He's been doing very well. Finsky as well, getting some nice headshots in there. But ultimately, I believe that the cohesion and basically preparation for this game, they just won in the end. I mean, Torpedo, for as much as of a ramshackle team they are, they've played surprisingly together as a team, and they had everything in the right spot. They played very smart. They played safe. They played careful. They played around their Ubers as well as without them, and even if they lost in near every now and then, they still knew what to do and kind of how to hold their points. And Kitty only knocking on their doors once, I believe. Not even once. They only got to the second point, but not further. Whereas Torpedo has been knocking on their doors time and time again.
Sorry, one thing I think when we look at the logs, I'm just looking at the scoreboard there quickly just before the game ended. And I think one thing that you'd notice is that if you look at both teams, if you look at the influence of Joseph on the map, you'll see that he did a huge amount of work, I think. I haven't even looked at the logs yet. I think we have some now. But I think that's what we'll see. And Gully Wash is a map that's very much about which team can outspam the other through the chokes and then take advantage of the damage that you've done. And if you can enable your demo to do the amount of work that Joseph allegedly did.
Yeah, actually, look in the logs, and you're completely right. I mean, as unnoticed as Joseph was, he was cleaning up a lot of kills. He's opening a lot of just damage for the rest of the team to clean up after him. And he is topping the charts with 33 kills himself. He's been doing amazingly well for himself, even though he was sticking with his medic, so he wasn't really going for as flashy plays as Crime was. He was kind of, when the Uber was happening, the Uber was happening somewhere else where he was just kind of, trying to finish off people, and he's been doing very well for himself. And then the second one is Newbie, the soldier for the team of Torpedo. And the third one is Finske, the sniper for Kitty's bakenbardami. 26 kills to his name.
I wouldn't say Gully Wash is necessarily a fantastic sniper map all around, so getting above 25 kills is a pretty decent achievement all around from both snipers, actually. They both managed to break that barrier. But yeah, it's all about the damage and the damage you can do and then take advantage of between both teams. You'll see Lightclaw actually did a lot of work on Scout, but just couldn't really find the openings. I think that a Scout of his pedigree would have liked to have been given.
That's true. And was just going back to the demos. I mean, we've been talking about Crime a little bit, kind of Joseph going unnoticed, but logs do not lie, and Joseph is actually finishing off this game with almost 14,000 damage total, whereas Crime only, barely breaks 10,000. So over 4,000 more damage on the demo man, and that translates into 450 D damage per minute for Joseph, and only 330 for Crime, his counterpart from Kitty's team. So once again, I mean, Joseph, one of what I hear is actually the main caller for his team, and he's doing a lot of work for himself. So he's kind of the power horse, the unsung hero of his team, and granting them 3 points in the set, looking for 3 more.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Coal Plant, if we're going to segue on nicely onto the next map there, as a map, it's well known, from my perspective anyway, as a medic player, it's well known for the amount of sightlines there are, and snipers can really dominate on the map. But demos can too, because teams tend to congregate in specific areas of the map that are quite enclosed. So if Torpedo can use Joseph as well as they did this time round, on Coal Plant again, I think they're definitely going to feel the love, feel the maybe tentative 3-0 again. I don't know.
We'll see how it goes, but this is going to be a much tighter map, much shorter map, much closer map, I think, because it is, ultimately a much smaller map as well. With 1 point to cap for either team to hold for 3 minutes per round, it's, bound to be a mess of a game in the middle there, with both, basically, teams just tossing the players back and back again. When you think about just solo plays and how both teams have performed, I mean, we see that Finske and Ollie kind of close in terms of kills. You have said that Finske has been really doing well so far, and this time around he may be having a little bit more trouble playing against Ollie, or maybe he's just being focused a little bit better by the enemy flank. As well as Bosch, I mean, he's been doing amazingly well on Gully Wash, despite not really having that much success in going into fights, but just solo plays and just smart plays as well. Getting back cap there, stopping or killing the in-year when they had 100% and Bahan had none. That was amazing. And it just shows that soldier can kind of think for himself and play outside the box, despite using that black box every now and then.
Ugh, hate that. Black box memes. Ugh.
I was thinking about this. You know what? Might throw this one in. I'm at that age that I am allowed to make dad jokes. Okay.
Oh dear, let's not get into that. Okay. It's bringing us back to reality in front of us, or not even that, virtual reality in front of us right here. Something that we would have seen a lot on Gully Wash was the amount of Uber exchanges going on, and which team had Uber, which team had Uber disadvantage, and all that. I would wager that Torpedo might use crits this game. I don't know. It's a prediction I'm going to make right here. But the use of crits, or any other medigun for that matter, can really swing cut maps in your favor. Or perhaps not. Ooh, Vaccinator. Oof.
Vaccinator. You gotta use the Vaccinator every now and then. I mean, we casted the game this Monday where I do believe it was Nightmare who was using the Vaccinator.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I was just like, how? Like, they actually won using the Vaccinator for the entire round. And while it's not perfect, it certainly has its uses, and it goes really amazing against the Kritzkrieg. Like, you have 4 charges that you can use, and all of them counter crits, which means you can simply you take regular damage, actually just, lower damage than usual, and you still survive, you still take damage, but it's not a lot. And it goes amazingly well against crits because you never get caught off guard. You always have that ready, and you always are protected from crits. Even if you mess up the protection, you still get the protection from crits.
I mean, do you really want to rely on your medic having the wherewithal to know which damage type to have out? That's the one weakness of Vaccinator, I think. But yeah, exactly that. On COT maps in particular, most of the spam coming out is explosive from demo men and soldiers. So you don't have to switch resistances all that much. But if you can get decent focus fire from multiple different sources onto the medic in particular, because he doesn't really have all that much to defend himself besides the resistances, then he's going to die real fast. But if you can't get that, and on a map like Cold Plant, it can be really hard to get that because he has lots of things to hide behind. Then it's going to be near impossible to kill him. And
that's true. That's true. And well, going back to Vaccinator Unlock, I mean, it's a weapon that I'd love to love, but I hate to hate. It's because the medics usually have a lot of work to do. You don't really notice, but there's a lot of calculations going through your head. I mean, you're just calculating the shots, calculating where the enemy team is, calculating your own positioning, calculating your team's positioning, calculating your health. It's basically like a big, quick maths going in their head all the time throughout the entire game, throwing in yet 4 small Uber charges that just, charge at a different rate than usual, work differently, and work out your resistances, and be careful as to what is attacking you as to get the right I think it's just a little bit too much for a medic and Highlander to actually keep track of.
Yeah, I don't like using my brain. That's why I play medic and Highlander, to be honest. All I need to do is use my basic fight or flight and be like, I'm going to die if I stay here. That's it. It's wonderful. Using Vaccinator requires too much brain power.
It does. I mean, simple as that. I really love that weapon, but honestly, that is just the reason why I never use it myself. I'd love to just see it being used by other medics, but I think every single medic I've talked with is just simply the weapon has its uses, but in the end, the resistance, how it works, maybe if you could bind buttons to get the right resistance immediately, 1, 2, 3, like a MOBA game, that would work.
Yeah, that would be an interesting solution to it, I think.
Just scrolling through the resistance and making sure that you get the right one, and there's always one in between that you don't use, and you never know what the succession of them is. It's just too much work, man. Too much to take care of, too much to track. And with spies basically stabbing you in the back 24/7, and soldiers flying above your head, it's just not fun.
On to spies, actually. Ajay, he won Spy the season last year, didn't he? Or was it Mezzo? Actually, it was Mezzo, I think. But Ajay was nominated for it anyway. And I'd love to see what a nominated Spy of the season can do on a map like this, because there's a lot of space for him, a lot of work he can do. And spy work is often the ones that can bring the highest pitches out of our voices as we exclaim to his brilliance in general.
Yeah.
He's obviously the most direct counter to the sniper dominance on the map.
Kind of like the flavor of this season, or generally the recent Highlanders I've noticed, is that because snipers play such a pivotal role in basically any game there is, especially in Team Fortress 2, and especially if you play Highlander, because you have a guy running on sniper who has been pretty much doing absolutely nothing but playing sniper for the past whoever knows how many hours. And if you don't counter that, or you don't have a sniper who's able to out-snipe him, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, as that one sniper is able to simply just push this way to your favor. If you have players who are able to kind of punish a sniper like this, having a spy who is dedicated on sniper duty, or having a soldier constantly flying in his face, even if you die, but you still open up, just kind of make that sniper paranoid, that's going to throw his game off. At the same time, a sniper who is able to keep his cool when there's soldiers flying about, that is a very valuable sniper that you should keep and, well, make sure that he stays hydrated and everything.
Stay hydrated, but make sure you're drinking water, folks. But yeah, one difference from this map to Product in that regard, I think, is that it's far easier to defend your sniper on this map. You know, Product, your sniper's probably hanging out on China, maybe Cliff, and he's just that little bit further away from your combo than he would be if he was playing on Coal Plant, when he's usually exactly with your combo for the most part. So that added level of protection makes this even more of a sniper-oriented map in my view. And because of the large distances that combos usually are away from each other on this map, that kind of lowers just a little bit the influence of demo men that you would normally see on COD maps in particular.
Yeah, and one more thing about sniper is that it's not an easy job to be a sniper as well. I mean, you have a lot of targets that you can shoot at, and as long as you aim and shoot and get the kill, it's all good. But at the same time, those targets, how do you prioritize them? Like, for example, you have a sniper and a medic standing in roughly the same spot. Who do you prioritize? Do you prioritize the medic or do you prioritize the sniper? You know, you have a calculation. You can take down the sniper first and then look for the medic, but you have a chance that the medic will just run away to safety. You can take the medic down, but the other sniper will snipe you and will still be alive to take down your medic as well, should one pop his head out. Yeah,
it's a never-ending game of cat and mouse, as it were.
Pretty much. Like, you know, rock, paper, scissors. I mean, you have classes that counter each other, roughly, and you can still kind of play around that and play against that, but it's all about basically positioning and smart plays. You know, if you don't have the experience or the intelligence needed to simply just kind of outsmart the other player, it's going to be a difficult one for you. And so far, you know, we've seen soldiers that kind of emulate the good old legend of the yesteryear, Shadowburn, who was the one who kind of started thinking, like I said before, outside the box, going for crazy plays, going for like unlikely plays, something that you would never expect a soldier to do. And well, ever since, it was kind of hard to find a soldier like this. And yet again, we have Bosch, the contender for that spot from Russia as well.
Nobody does some pretty crazy things as well, to be fair.
I mean, he was standing on that, you know, that lamp spot on Gollywash. That was crazy in and of itself. And he actually managed to get the medic down with the help of the mini-sentry, so
some big brain plays all around.
Yeah, big brain plays.
We are waiting for Enier, I think, from Torpedo to rejoin the server.
Yep. He's been quite pivotal as well.
I think. Yeah, his decision making in general was really, really good on Gully.
It's often I say that Highlander is not really about making plays, but more like making as few mistakes as possible. If you're making plays, that's great, but that also opens you up for more risk from the other side. I mean, if you lose your entire flank, basically trying to go for the medic, you're playing with 2 players down or 3 players down, however many people took part in that attack. And if you simply just lose your medic there somewhere, then what do? You just jump in completely for the enemy team, or do you just wait around and wait for regrouping, or I don't know, do you sacrifice yourself for the point? You just have to kind of make sure that everyone stays on the same page and make those big brain plays. There you go.
A few times on Gully, actually, I think we saw that in action, where you know, the predetermined strategy of we're going to do this when we're pushing this point kind of went out the window, and both teams just went to hell. We're just going to say screw our medics for the next 4 minutes, and we're just going to do whatever the hell we want around mid and second. And it's pretty chaotic, pretty fun to watch. But man, if I was one of those medics, I'd be going crazy.
Yeah,
I hate when things like that happen, and on COD in particular, that can happen all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of what I always say with the medic, is that the medic is a goalkeeper of a football team. Like, you never really get any glory unless it goes to like penalty, and that penalty being basically, you know, saving somebody from getting killed, or, you know, popping just in time to save yourself from, let's say, cratering or getting air shot. Those are like those goalkeeping penalty moments. But overall, I mean, if a goalkeeper is doing his job, which means he protects the goal from the ball, then nobody's really paying that much attention to them. Yet again, if you're playing without a good goalkeeper, you're going to keep losing your goals time and time again. And, you know, when you lose your goal, you lose your Uber. And, well, it just all spirals down for the entire team. So just a tip for all those newcomers as well as experienced players: make sure your medic is protected. Because otherwise, you're going to have a bad time.
Everyone's going to have a bad time. And he's going to shout at you. And you don't want people to be shouting at you. You want to be friends.
Not really, like, I don't remember, I was definitely shouting at people when I was playing Medic, but I was more disappointed when I die rather than angry. It's just like, come on, guys, really? Sometimes it's my fault. Yeah. Sometimes it's my fault, you know? I admit if I overextend or I get sniped by a sniper even though he was called out or because I didn't hear or something, you know, you gotta admit your mistakes, but at the same time, if your team really doesn't give a shit about you, it's going to be difficult for you to really stay alive and benefit your team with them heals.
You're going to be feeling a lot of sadness in general. Just a lot of sadness.
Well, both teams really taking their sweet time as we kind of divulged into a Team Fortress 2 podcast, as it is a KritzKast channel. So, I can't pull off aggro, but so what's going on in your life? What's going on in your TF2 life?
My TF2 life? Well, at the moment, I think we are in the heady heights of mid Highlander. And I think we're second in the table at the moment, but that's going to change after results from tonight. Hoping for them playoffs.
Oh, so you're looking at the playoff spot?
Hopefully, yeah. It would be nice. That's kind of the goal of competitive TF2, you know. Actually win stuff. Get into a position to win stuff.
And then what? Then just going on to Prem?
Yeah, straight to Prem. Yeah, that's the idea.
Alright, actually, Anir finally reconnected with his team. We're still missing some players from Kitty's bakenbardami. Actually, Meef is in spectators. I'm not sure what he's doing. Maybe constructing a better PC to run his, game better so he can actually get those meat shots. But, you know, again, like, just going back into, like, the TF2 and class talking and basically being the goalkeeper of a team, I do believe that engineers sort of share that role as well. You never really talk about engineers pulling off some crazy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Rambosaur did that, what was it? He did a Wrangler jump with the mini sentry up drop down on a gully mid and basically got the medic with it, with the help of Joseph walking across the point. Like, little things like that, people think NG's all about, put this Spencer here. But there's a lot more to it, because you are essentially a slow scout with a shotgun that does slightly less damage on meat shot, with a lot of utility as well. And on maps like this in particular, you often see NGs getting quite high scores because they don't usually die all that often. And the utility they provide, along with the shotgun DM that they can pull out when they're absolute gods like these guys are, can really make the difference between teams.
And also, you're kind of looking for those NGs that are willing to also go for crazy plays. Like, you have the regular, engineer, you sort of expect him to do his job, expect him to put the sentry in the right spot, expect him to keep the sentry up, be able to sort of make sure that the buildings stay alive under spam, that sort of thing. But every now and then you get an engineer who is just really creative with his plays. Like, back in the day, I don't know sure if you even remember, but Banana Man, who played a bunch of teams, he was always the one who was just thinking of strats who later, all the engineers were copying. And then you had a Sigafu from America that was basically also thinking outside the box and trying to figure out some strategies. But we finally are ready to go after this long break. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back into the game between Kitty's bakenbardami and TORPEDO. The second round of this is Coal Plant. As we're back into the middle fight.
Looks like Crime took the shutter route, took a lot of damage actually while doing so. They're so aggressive, they're right up in their faces. They've got to keep the amount of damage out on Oleski. They got Joseph as well, and doing so, but no, Adji manages to get the medic, and that's going to be the end of this mid fight right there. Such an aggressive approach coming out from the Russians.
Oof, Oli actually claiming Lyclos. He was about to get away from dodge. And get out of dodge is the right term there. He's still scoped in, still looking for some kills. Adie, Wild, Piggy, and Newbie being really aggressive there. But Adie's going to get found out by Bashi onto the flank, the rafters there, the balcony, however you want to call it. Jumping in is Bashi, looking for the mede, but he's going to get spammed out for his trouble. Finds Oleski though, that's heavy for the blue team. And looks like Kitty's bakenbardami will be slowly reclaiming this point with no contestation. Newbie jumps in, looking for the mede, but he just gets a bunch of spam in his face. Unfortunate.
Good teams will do. That's the difference between, Prem teams and open teams, lol. Besides the DM difference, obviously. is knowing when you can push forward like that. When there's no presence from the enemy team on the point, you can just walk forward. And no, that's another med kill for Ajay. Gets Pahan again, and the Uber advantage is going to swing back towards Anir.
As they're pushing in, no Uber charge, but no medic on the other side. You have that heal advantage, and you're going to use it to full advantage for you. You side everybody going down to Joseph. You'll pick you find Finske. There's two very important picks here. Boshi also going down, looking for the medic kill, but Pahan is Nir is barely alive, but he's alive nevertheless. Here Crime goes in, looking for a pipe. He gets one, but the Nir is just alive by a sliver of health. Somehow he stays alive there with that health tick. I think that what actually kept him alive in there. He's still alive, 100% Uber charge on his side. Point belongs to the side of Torpedo.
Aleski's actually coming up from underneath here. A little bit of flank heavy skills coming out. The Uber's going to come out actually onto Joseph. They're trying to come into this lobby. There's a level 2 sentry from Ethan here. Look and see if they can get anything else while they're at it. Doesn't seem like they can. They're going to have to back up here. They had a heavy dropping on their face. While Piggy's going uber deep looking for Finsky, but can't get him. And now this looks like a real nice opportunity for Kitty. They're going to have to kill Joseph first. They do, but nobody's in. They kill Pan again. Pan hasn't gotten a single Uber charge this entire game. There's been so much pressure on him, and they really need to defend their medic more than that.
Yeah, but what do? I mean, you have Adi, you have Oli, you have Newbie, you have Joseph, who are just constantly jumping for you, looking for you actively every single time you peek your head out on such a cramped and narrow map as this. It's just gonna be, well, occurring the entire time, so we can just hope that Pahan simply stays alive long enough to get an Uber out, as he's not gonna be having an easy time coming out of Torpedo. But now Torpedo is just knocking on the door of Kiti. There's a level 3 sensor being built in the door by Meep. What a play! Adi goes for the spy, finds the spy, gets the sap on the sensor, but sensor is gonna get saved by the engineer. Basically, there's a little bit of a spam being exchanged by either team. Look at this, 3 sentry in the door versus a level 3 in the door. I mean, it's a pretty clear outcome of this one.
And is actually completely alone on his side of the point there. He's not able to heal anyone. And now he has Ollie at least to heal. But the Uber forced on Pahan went so low, 20 HP minimum. And they're going to have to see what they can do here. But Enier is all the way out with Ollie. Nice, safe and sound. And that does not work out well for Kitty.
And now when you're about to have his Uber charge, they're actually pushing in aggressively without this one. Your Crime goes for Pahan. He gets a pipe, but that is not enough to kill this medic. Now the follow-up comes in with Boshi, finds a rocket, finds 2, and does a drop as Boshi dies himself. But that's what he was looking for. The medic down for the blue team, and they haven't even finished the cap.
Fantastic play. I don't know if you saw as well, DQZ went for a bomb as well, and he was the one that they focused firing out of the air. Don't know if you should focus firing a pyro out of the air, or maybe, you know, an actual soldier who has 3 rockets you can shoot into your medic's face. And now while Piggy is on to Pahan, who's completely alone on bots, he's going to go down again. I think medics are irrelevant at this point. Let's just see which team can out-DM the other.
Oh, it's so difficult to be playing a medic on this map as it's too small. And look at this, Boshi goes in, finds Joseph, dies himself, but that's a soldier for a demo, and what kind of a demo Joseph is. It's a very good pick here. They managed to actually reclaim this point, or they're backing out. Pahan actually misses the door, but he's safe and sound. The level 3 sentry is really helping them out. By me, if he's still maintaining this, going up to the balcony there, putting some nice spam onto the middle, but it looks like it's gonna get slowly but surely finished.
Yeah, when the Kitty combo all backed out through Shutter, it was well recognized but by Torpedo that they had no presence and they can just walk forward, get the point. That level 3 sentry is a neat idea and it works sometimes, but if your team isn't there to support you when you're opening the gate and wrangling it, then it's pretty much doing nothing, and you yourself are also doing nothing. So they're going to need to play around that level 3 a little bit better if they're going to want to play like that.
45 seconds to go for this one. Kitty's bakenbardami going below with everybody, and that Uber charge as well, ready to go. Going from the right side here, the other side of the blue. Blue is actually feeding this Uber as much as just bleeding this one out there. They're sharing quite a bit as well. Everybody's getting stuck in the corner. It's surely going to fall down to the swath of the blue players, and Torpedo still in control of this point. It's kind of come unnoticed, this whole push with the Uber charge on the side.
Fensky gets in here.
Ooh, no.
Important pick, but with this little time left on the clock, I suppose it only just generates a heal advantage at that. but they have a pyro on the point with Pahan. They have some people under the point as well, but Oleski can just walk around the corner here. Gets picked up by TS. Good spy play there. Adi trying to get Pahan. Don't know if that was the pick you want to be looking for. And they're actually, are they going at this point? They have enough presence. It's only Enya, Ramasaur, and Piggy up. And with spawns only coming up in the next second, I don't think that anyone's going to get in here.
Well, Piggy will try to stop this one from happening. Jumps on the point in the last second to stop it, but he jumps away. Which is unfortunate, as this entire red team on the point just stacking it. First point of the set goes to the way of the Russians, putting themselves on the board in this game. We're moving on to the second round. Remember, this is best of 3. Whichever team gets to 3 points first. Well, best of 5, actually. Well, win this one.
Nice correction. Crime goes to Shudder. Roll out again, trying to get some spam on the Joseph. Boshi again is just right in their face. They're going to walk forward with that distraction, but they're all getting cleaned up. The reflex coming out. The entire combo's dead. Boshi burning out slowly. Ajay can just gun him down here. Piggy gets him firm. That's going to be a near wipe. It's really only TS and Lightclaw left alive. The aggression again not paying off for Kitty.
It's just the position that they're taking. They're wide open for Joseph and Newbie to pick clean up. And they have the height advantage, they have that plank protecting them on the side, they have basically the whole garage area to just simply back out to if they need to. It's just not an advantageous fight, even if they're like full aggression. They're just not gonna get it, but Anya gets the medic onto Pahan, gets the kill. It's very important there, and look at this. Kitty just goes, you know, to hell with it. We're jumping in. Bosch actually messing this one up, but they decide to just throw some players out. Lightclaw goes in, Crime goes in the second his medic goes down, but unable to find anything but the spy there. And near on 100% and in control of the point. It looks promising for Torpedo.
Torpedo will want to get at least another minute out of this. They have the full charge, they have the positioning. I like what Kitty are doing here, going bats and just spamming over it, because, you know, at least that way you have a slight height advantage when you're spamming. Crime tries to go for another bomb. Doesn't really matter, they're going to use into them here. Joseph coming into the shutter. Heavy just waits to die, but the sentry's still alive. Wrangled sentries for the win. The Wrangler's a good weapon, boys. Joseph gets it with the last pill in his collection, and they're going to hold this point.
And again, almost the entire red team gets cleaned up here, actually bleeding some more players here. Crime going down somewhere. Pahan only on 50%, but the Nier is actually only 30. Using an Uber charge in the last engagement, they managed to clean up the red team, but Pahan has stayed alive. Now he has the advantage. Now T-Burden is going for the medic. Now Pahan's in a lot of trouble, but everybody is there to protect him. He's low on health, gonna pay with his life to Joseph, and Luppicky picking up Crime as well yet again. That's a combo down, but only finds a kill onto Pahan. This man just cannot catch a single break this game.
Enier had died 2 seconds before that to snipe from the opposite side, so getting that pick was absolutely crucial. They were already behind in Uber charges anyway, but I'm actually thinking at this point, will Kitty even get this point back? It looks like they will now. Oh, Enier gets killed by TS straight out of spawn. That's a bit of a faux pas, as it were. Yeah, Kitty will get the point back, and they have the huge advantage to go with it. They'll lose their sniper Dajay though.
That sniper kill was basically cutting open a wound, and that kill by the spy and spawn was just salting at this point. But Pahan finally gets himself an advantage, and at this point you might think, well, is it the time for medics to actually use a different unlock than the Uber charge gun? Because it does load the slowest out of all of them, and you just don't have the time to charge it up, so might as well just use a quick fix, or maybe use that, you know, infamous vaccinator. But there's a lot of exchanges there. DPC gets a nice reflect onto Newbie, but I think he dies to Aleski. The whole blue team is just going in, and we do have a pause. It's just a little bit of a lag going on, but the blue team is slowly reclaiming the point for themselves with 50 seconds to go on the clock.
Again, it's all about positioning. The Crime nearly gets dropped by Pad. As it is, they do drop Boshi with a nice arrow coming out. They're losing lots of people in the background. This is a disastrous Uber. 35 seconds left, 70% disad. This is not good for Kitty.
Nope. I mean, they are still winning with this 1 point. Joseph's actually looking for Pahan, just putting some pills in that narrow chokehold, but Pahan's out of dodge in this one, and near 100%. You will be safe and sound provided he actually pops in time here. Crime going yet again, just really aggressive. not really paying attention to his own team. He gonna die to Joseph. Actually, the Rambazar. Joseph actually picking up everybody away. And again, the combo is down for count, and Py-bun really doesn't have anybody to lean on. Newbie goes for Py-bun, finds the kill. But at this point, it's a little bit too late, as this second point of the set goes the way of Torpedo.
At the very end there, Meath just went for a sentry bomb from his level 3 sentry to try and get to the point, but he just didn't get there in time. I liked the thought, if nothing else. But Kitty are really going to need to get a hand on themselves if they want to get back in this game quickly.
And Crimea again a little bit faster, but Joseph with more health, putting some spam on the choke. Going aggressive yet again, they're not really learning their lesson, and at this point it's just a repeat of the last round.
Yep, everyone dying. Py-bun really weak, manages to live this time if nothing else.
Here, Lightclaw, Finsky in that river below. Now they're backing out, but looks like they just want to get away with their life. Newbie actually finds Lightclaw there on the flank. It's kind of like a fadeaway kill. Now looking for the sniper. Oh, but what a reflex by DQZ. Gets Newbie instead, just in time to save his sniper's skin. Now he's looking for Joseph kill. He gets a shot onto him, but not...
Ajay's on the medic. Have they seen him? They're spy checking for him. He's going to decloak and go for it. He misses the stab. He's going to die for this. Py-bun lives with 95% Uber.
DQZ gets a nice melee kill, and Finsky taking out Ollie, opening up a lot of room for them to push into. Both medics on 100%. Nice jumping by Boshi, taking out Nier's health a little bit lower, but they're pushing in. It looks like they'll be able to stabilize themselves onto this point. Finally, first cap for them in this round here. But Joseph goes in for the medic, and he gets him!
What a pipe from close range. Fantastic reactions from him. And a massive pick. How is he still alive? There he goes. A last shotgun from Meath. That's a fantastic play, and it gets the team a little bit of a respite.
Oof. 200 IQ plays coming out of the demo for Torpedo. I mean, he's really been the backbone, the anchor for his team the entire game tonight. And he's still showing that he still has some steam left in his, well, his game. And now Joseph yet again on the middle, just level 3 there in the doorway. Nice reflex coming out of DQZ, and there's just they're having a lot of trouble taking this one down. They do cap the point though, and they stabilize themselves, but that sentry is still gonna be proof painful. Because everybody's just focusing fire on this at this point. Going into the garage door, but they're getting spammed. There's a retaliation. Now they're actually going down to Boshi there on the back line. That's the only kill out of this engagement.
It's an important thing to clear out, that sentry gun, because, you know, it does make capping that point an absolute nightmare. If you don't focus fire, Finsky gets his opposite number of Ollie. No sniper, they're just going to try and walk forward here. Py-bun doesn't quite have Uber yet. He's 96%, 97%. Can they kill him before he gets it? He doesn't have anyone to heal. Now he has it, but is there anyone that he wants to heal to counter Uber in here?
Oh, but they clean off Meath, and the sentry follows up. Finally, they managed to get rid of that pesky engineer. The dispenser and teleporter are still alive for the engineer to reunite with his team. Adie is there, just looking for some damage done. Crime actually finishing him off. Rambas are going down as well. And Nier actually getting sniped there by Finsky. That sure is the time for them to go, for Kitty to actually reclaim the point for themselves. 100% Uber charge advantage for themselves as well. Nice reflex there by the Spyro. Actually, DQZ protecting his medic. Unfortunately, the heavy, everybody goes down for Kitty's bakenbardami. That's okay, as they finish off the cap. They still have that 100% Uber.
Oh, the demo bomb in again onto Py-bun. He manages to avoid the damage for the most part.
Completely.
That was scary.
He is full health. He's full Uber. He's just balls of steel right there on this medic, as Joseph has proved himself to be very annoying, very successful. But yet again, another wave comes in. They're going in with those scouts and the soldiers. Newbie behind, looking for the medic, but he's kind of lost in there, and he's not going to be able to get away from this one. Now, just red team goes on the point and said, you know what, we had enough of this aggression. Going on the point, clean up a lot of players, and here, however, stays alive.
That's pretty much best case scenario for Torpedo. That's exactly what they wanted. They wanted to bait out the Uber onto the point, lose the non-essential players, keep any air alive. Caster's Curse may or may not occur, but it looks like now they have this soldier up on the roof. A little bit of pressure going on. Pyre on the point. They're going to get this cap back. And now less than a minute remaining in this round for them.
Actually picking up Highlander, so further solidifying their advantage in this game. Here, Torpedo with 100% Uber charge, holding on that little Z point, that little connector on the coal. But here goes Crime with Bosch at the same time, jumping on it in the air. Will they be able to get the force out? No, they won't. As the pirate T-Bird actually pays with like craters there, but they force out the Uber charge, going with the scout, chasing kills. Here Joseph being really aggressive, taking out everybody, but he dies himself to a crater. The gravity, cruel mistress, you can't avoid that.
Physical constants. I'd hate them, personally. But it looks like, yep, no pressure. They can just walk on to this point. Boshi again goes for his favorite bomb towards the enemy team, with almost no health remaining, as is his want. They're going to lose DQZ. Without the Pyro, it's going to be hard to keep people off this point. They're actually just going to walk right up into them.
Yeah, Boshi actually taking down Rambazar there, and he actually gets away with his life. No, he does not. His Rambazar picks up a kill. 1 for 1 there, and now Aleski goes and finds Prime. Pahan in a bit of a trouble there. He has Uber charge. No, not yet. He's healing everybody as much as he can. He pops in the last moment. They will be able to get him near. Surely he can run away from this one. But Heavy is a little bit too slow there. Spino chases TS, looking for Anir, but Anir is somehow still alive.
Fantastic juking from him. Yeah, he only has 10%, but keeping himself alive. No, Boshi finds him. How does he do it? This man is a radar for that medic, constantly finding him in his face. That level, was it level 3 sentry? In that shutter now is going to be a real nightmare for Torpedo if they want this point. Kitty have not only stabilized, they are in complete control here.
And that surely is very well deserved for them, actually, because they've played well this round. Last round they stumbled a little bit, as opposed to Torpedo, who played well, but now TS actually picking up freeing up all this space for Red Team to push out of. But the Blues are not really letting go. Torpedo is just going in full force into the enemy team. With 8 seconds to go, they really don't have a choice there, the Red Team. They need to push in. Kitty just have to go on the point. Do they have the players? Boshi jumps in with the overheals. Paham almost has the Uber charge. A lot of players dying on the point, and here doesn't have his Uber just yet. Paham needs to get somebody to heal. But what?
He just ran out of players. They just didn't have enough. The respawns from Crime was never going to get there in time, really. Oh wow, last second victory, getting that sentry gun crucial for closing out the round, and now it's 2-1, and Torpedo only have 1 more round to win.
That's crushing for the Kiti team. Boshi jumping in. They're still aggressive, so aggressive, losing everybody in Crime yet again. Now DQZ going down as well. 3 players down. Pahan's low on health, and he's being pressured out. He cannot stay alive. Surely he will go down, and he does there to Newbie. Newbie going on the flank, just cleaning up 2 kills for himself. Point goes the way of Torpedo. They have found themselves a foothold in this game, leading with 2 points. Man, this is kind of a desperation hour for Kitty.
I'm not sure that desperation hour consists necessarily of doing the exact same mid again and ramming yourself off that wall. It hasn't worked any of the times they've tried it, and they really should have learned that by now. And now, a round down, basically 70% Uber charge down. They're in real dire straits here, but no demo, so they're actually going to walk into this point. Scout Uber going to come out with a pyro. Scout's going to chase the medic, see what he can get done, but the sentry just about still alive.
Wow, big brain plays. They just picks up the sentry gun and just removes it from danger. Point still doesn't belong to Kitty, but they managed to stay alive, and Nier just wasting that entire Uber on chasing off Bahan, who actually is still alive, is a good play for Kitty's bakenbardami. They're losing some players. Their Crime actually going down again. I mean, he's kind of seemed disconnected from his own medic the entire time, so no wonder he's losing all the health he's needed. Joseph actually doing a little bit better job now. Uber comes out on the Pyro, just chasing off players off the point. Aleski gonna go down in Nier as well. That's the one pick they needed right now. And they still haven't finished off the cap.
I didn't see how Anir died there, but he really shouldn't have been anywhere near that point. That was a solo Pyro Uber and absolutely nobody else near him. All they had to do was run away from that and push back in. It would have been easy. But now, without any air, I mean, he's just a right back now. They're still about 10-20% behind an Uber charge. They're going to really struggle to hold on to this point, but if everybody's going to die like that, maybe they won't.
Maybe they won't indeed, as Torpedo is holding in the same exact spot yet again. It's very susceptible to bombs and spam, like basically splash damage. as well, Prem is doing right now. But yet again, he's just completely disconnected from his team, and it's just an easy pickup for the scout. So Wild Piggy finishes him off, but let's keep picking up Lycla as well, and everybody going down. It's basically 3 players down, even though I just said that everybody went down. And Py-bun doesn't really have anybody to, well, like I said, lean on. He needs some kind of a core class, some combo class to lean on, and every single time he finds somebody, they die.
I just want to point out how much work Piggy is doing in this game. Like, COT is a scout's playground as it is, but man, he has 4 doms, he's on a 5 kill streak, he's top scoring. He's really having the game of his life.
Uber comes out from the red team, but so does from the blue. Just exchanging damage into indestructible targets. Not gonna get you far, but everybody is low on health. He sure is gonna go down to the nice W+1 from TORPEDO, who's actually gonna get cleaned up himself by Crime. And here doesn't really have anybody to lean on. Bashi doesn't really notice that he's there, just chasing off the mini sentry, and Rambazar's just gonna jump into them and gets a cleanup with Wild Piggy, but the point finally belongs to Kitty. 47 seconds to go for TORPEDO to actually finish this game off with 6 points to their name.
Again, they don't really have any people here. They do have level 2 sentry in a slightly different position now on bats. But because they're around the corner from this, you know, this works better in Asheville where they're holding right now because of the slightly different geometry of the whole thing. But they're going to get this cap for pretty much free. They're going to lose their heavy as well. The sentry's going down slowly to the spam from an NG. Oh, Meef saves it at the last second. But they're going to have to use the super to re-push in the next 10-20 seconds. Or else they've lost this game.
Bashi once again in behind the enemy team, just causing disruption. He's going to get gunned down by the Texas man, shooting him with a bunch of shotgun shells. But the medic is going to turn around just in time here. Py-bun, his face plants into Adye, who is just kind of like, wait, what was I doing? And then he just dies there, so save his skin. 100% uber charge, only 80 on in here. They're pushing in from below. 8 seconds to go on the clock. They really need to get this cap done. They have uber charge, but they have to wait for the soldier to jump in. Py-bun in the last second save just pops that uber charge. Now Joseph is looking for a kill himself. He's still looking for Py-bun, even though he dies. As this last-ditch effort from Kitty is actually working out in their favor with 1.5 minutes to go.
They did hit overtime though, the TORPEDO. Now if the cap goes down at all, there's absolutely no chance for Kitty. That was a nice attempt from Joseph to try and get in with Py-bun. Py-bun went down 10 HP there. They're really unlucky not to drop him, really, but there's just so many people on the point. There's no one to shoot them. 3-1. And that is the full 6 points, I believe.
It is.
For TORPEDO.
Well done for them. I mean, I sort of expected Kitty, after their experience with SDCK, as well as just basically how individually they're skilled, but I don't know. I just feel like they could have had it should these maps be changed around. I think if we had, or they have played Coal Plant before they actually played Gollywash, I think they would have this in a bag. I think the loss on Gollywash, and such a spectacular loss, kind of played in their psyche a little bit, and you could see that the cohesion wasn't there anymore, and the crime was rarely seen around his medic, so was everybody. And Py-bun really didn't have a good time just kind of staying alive, because the only person you could lean on was DQZ, the Pyro. And Pyro's not really gonna do much on his own, so every single team fight we've seen, it was crime and everybody going down first. And without those 2 anchor classes for the team, like, the entire Kiti team was struggling. And even with those amazing bombs by Bashi and kills by Finske, and then Lycla popping off there as well, it was just not enough because you didn't have those core classes that could tank and put out damage at the same time. And looking at the logs, it's very simple to see. Yet again, Joseph, top scoring. Second place, Newbie, the soldier, top scoring. And then Finske is literally the same exact lineup, I believe, that we seen last game. No, I'm looking at the last game. I'm dumb.
I was just waiting for you to notice, because if you look at these logs, you're going to see a very different number, and that number corresponds with something I said in game, because you're going to see a scout that got 466 DPM.
Jesus,
insane plays from Piggy, going 41 and 11. What?
It's disgusting. It's just 41. I just noticed 41 and 11 deaths, 10,000 damage, matching that of Joseph. He got more damage than anybody from the other team. Some of the teams like combined. 41 kills, 5 spy kills, but 8 scout kills. Newbie with second top scoring with 30 kills. Aleski with 24. Joseph not being as effective this time around, but he's got some amazing medic kills, and that was very important, as well as, just putting out the damage. The overall damage, he's good in that department. But overall, I mean, you only seen 10 pops out of Nier and 9 pops from Pahan for 4 rounds of a very fast-paced, very damaging, very heal-heavy map.
I think that says just how often medics died. I think overall, it's not often that you see that few Uber charges overall in a COD game that had 4 rounds of it. But man, if a scout can stay alive as well as Piggy did and then come in to clean up, it's the same in any game mode of TF2. When a scout comes in those situations, maybe he's overhealed, maybe he's full health, and all your enemy team is half health. What can you do? Especially when you have a level 3 sentry in the shutter that mightn't be open. If you just had a mini sentry out in the open, maybe countering a few bombers here or there, sure, it might go down, but you can just rebuild it again, and you can really stop the likes of a 41 and 11 scout. That's crazy stuff.
I think it was the case of Meath, because Meath was doing amazingly well at what he was doing. I mean, Kitty decided to just put that sentry down in the shutter door, have Meath sit there with the level 3, with a Wrangler, and just shoot people on the point. And for what it was worth, that was an amazing strategy that was working out splendidly. I mean, the sentry was taking a lot of damage, and Meath was keeping it alive, and basically it was just a major problem for Torpedo team to do anything against. But that's where your reason comes in as well. If you don't have an engineer, you have an engineer just focusing on one thing and one thing only, and just holding that very tiny, narrow spot with a moving door, the scout has free range. There's no sentry to protect the other team from that scout, and he was just abusing this, and Wild Piggy just abused this to his fullest extent, getting 4-to-1 KD ratio. And, well, he granted his team the win here.
It's hard to deal with a team whose scout is going as ham as that, to be honest. And it must be said, even with that, and even with crime or everybody being separated from Pahan, and even with Boshi maybe not always succeeding in his bombs, and even with all of that, that was still a really close game overall.
Yeah, it was.
And I think that says a lot about Kitty as a team. That they can, even though so much was going against them in general, the fact that they were able to keep it so close speaks a lot for them as a team and their teamwork.
Yeah, definitely we'll hope to see them play a bit more, as they're still not out of the competition yet. They still can fight for that playoff spot. So everything is still up in the air, but that will be it for tonight, guys. Thank you very much for watching, tuning in for this cast between Kitty and Torpedo. Torpedo taking this one, 2 maps, 4 points on Gollywash, 3-1 on Coal Plant. If you're happy with what you're seeing here and you want to see more of it, please do follow us on all social media, like Twitter, as well as our website is KritzKast.com. And you can always just check out our merchandise, which is awesome. Some amazing design coming from the community itself, helping us out with this one and keeping us alive on the float. And if you just want to help a little bit more directly, there's always a Patreon, and well, you can just subscribe to the channel for some of those nice emotes, and hopefully in the future we'll get some more as well, as long as you help us a little bit with keeping this dream alive. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Jake with Gamma on the co-pilot seat and Foppish producing, and see you next time.